Prabhupada ki
Jai.
We'll do the prayers first. Om Jnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamsya Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sagan Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sagan Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitam He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanasya Devi Pranamami Hari Priya Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhyev cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare Mukam karoti vachalam pangum langayati girim Yat kripatamaham vande Shri Gurum Dinataranam Paramanandamadam Shri Chaitanya Ishwaram. Yeah. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
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 Sarvakamadugam divyam Sarvaratna samanvitam Sarvadhi upachayodarkam Mani Stamber Upaskritam Sarvakama Dugam Divyam Sarvaratna Samanvitam Sarvardhi Upachayodarkam Mani Stamber Upaskritam. Yeah, someone. Okay, let's continue. Sarva, all. Kama, desires. Dugham, yielding. Divyam, wonderful. Sarvaratna, all sorts of jewels. Samanvitam, bedecked with. Sarva, all. Riddhi, of wealth. Upachaya, increase. Udarkam, gradually. Money, of precious stones. Stambai, with pillars. Upaskritam, adorned. Translation purport by His Divine Grace Srila Abhay Charanarinda Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki jai. It was a wonderful structure bedecked with all sorts of jewels, adorned with pillars of precious stones, and capable of yielding whatever one desired. It was equipped with every form of furniture and wealth, which tended to increase in the course of time. Purport: His Divine Grace Srila Abhay Charanarinda Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki jai. The castle created in the sky by Kardak Muni may be called a castle in the air, but by his mystic power of yoga, Karda Muni actually constructed a huge castle in the air. To our feeble imagination, a castle in the sky is an impossibility, but if we scrutinizingly consider the matter, we can understand that it is not impossible at all. If the Supreme Personality of Godhead can create so many planets carrying millions of castles in the air, a perfect yogi like Kardam Muni can easily construct one castle in the air. The castle is described as Sarva Kama Dugam, yielding whatever one desired. It was full of jewels. Even the pillars were made of pearls and valuable stones. These valuable jewels and stones were not subject to deterioration, but were everlastingly, increasingly opulent. We sometimes hear of castles thus bedecked on the surface of the earth also. The castles constructed by Lord Krishna for his 16,100 wives were so bedecked with jewels that there was no need of lamplight during the night. One more time. Om Jnanatimrandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah. So, Advaitam Achyutam Anadim Anantarupam Adyam Purana Purusham Navayovanam Cha Vedeshu Durlabam Adurlabam Atma Bhakto Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Brajam. So, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. One of the definitions of why Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead is that he is most opulent. His opulences are infinite. And there's a wonderful shloka in Bhagavad Gita, Yadyat Vibhuti Mat Sattvam Srimad Urjitam Evava Taddad Eva Vagachatvam Mama Tejo Angsha Sambhavam. Know that all opulent, beautiful, and glorious creations spring from but a spark of my splendor. So this is Krishna. Krishna's opulences are infinite. Infinite. They're ever increasing in their magnitude, in their sweetness, in their beauty, and at the same time, it's ever fresh. It's ever fresh. And the best example of this is actually Golok Vrindavan, devotional service. So devotional service is ever expanding. That's why expansion is life. Expansion in anything and everything we do is life. So the fire of the devotee is what actually yields to or results in newer and newer varieties of enjoyment for Krishna's exclusive pleasure. So the only thing which is important is the fire of the devotee, the desire of the devotee. The devotee has unlimited desire to serve Krishna, unlimited fire in the heart to give Krishna pleasure, then naturally he can do unlimited service. So this flow of seva, this sevonmukha, Atah Shri Krishna Namadi Navavet Grahyam Indriye Sevanmukha. So this Sevanmukha, this service attitude, this divine flow of service attitude is what is very important for a devotee. Because if there is no service, there is no life. There is no happiness in a devotee's life. So here, coming back to the purport, Prabhupada is speaking. Here we're reading about how Karda Muni created a castle in the air. So Krishna and Krishna's devotees, they have unlimited opulences, and they can do amazing things which cannot even be understood, cannot even be conceived by common people. Like today morning I was hearing an amazing class by Srila Prabhupada, and Prabhupada was saying Krishna is so amazing, so wonderful. Not only he can create the most amazing planets floating in the sky, but Krishna can also create the mosquito. The mosquito, such a, like Prabhupada was saying, not only can he create Mahato Mahiyan, but at the same time, he can create very small also. That is the amazing aspect of Krishna's creative ability. That so he challenged that can any scientist create a mosquito, such a small insect that can fly and which has so much detail. Mosquito eats, sleeps, everything, and at the same time it can fly also. So Krishna's creation is amazing, is astounding, and the more and more we can appreciate his creation, the more and more we can develop love for Krishna, because ultimately all of Krishna's creation, this earth planet is a reflection of Golok Vrindavan. And so Golok Vrindavan is Ananda Chinmaya Rasa Pratibhavitapi, is a place of bliss, which means not only are the gopis and gopas and Mother Yashoda and the servants of Krishna are in ecstasy, but even the plants, even the land, even the water, they're all in ecstasy. They're all in ecstasy. And they're completely spiritual, and their only meditation is how to serve Krishna, how to please Krishna. That is Vrindavan. And this material world is a perfect place to cultivate Vrindavan consciousness. So if we actually appreciate everything as part and parcel of Krishna's creation, Krishna's gift to us, then it can certainly make us Krishna conscious. Like you see the flower, so such an amazing creation of Krishna. The flower has so many petals, each petal shaped in a particular way. Each petal can have different colors, different flowers can have different smells, and there are unlimited varieties. Unlimited varieties are there. So this is Krishna's amazing creation. So Krishna's dear devotees like Karda Muni can also, by the grace of the Lord, can create such amazing things. So here we have to see always Bhagavatam or any Krishna conscious Katha always has to be seen in the context of the chapter, context of the whole Bhagavatam. If we don't see Guru's instructions or devotees' instructions, we don't see them in the context, then what happens is we construe the meaning or we confuse the meaning. And that's why many people you can take quotes out of anywhere and say anything. But then without that context, mm, it may confuse people. It may confuse people. Like for example, Prabhupada speaks about renunciation. Prabhupada speaks about renunciation in the sake of those who are trying or those who are seriously endeavoring to live in the temple and serve the deities or serve the Lord continuously. Prabhupada speaks about renunciation in that context. But at the same time, Prabhupada speaks about the importance of a householder carrying out his worldly duties. So if we apply uh, the rules of the temple at home, that, oh, you should be renounced, then it will create havoc, it will create problem. So everything has to be applied in proper context. And that is real devotee. Real devotee means one who knows what to apply where, what to say where. This is, we can see pure devotees, they are so careful, so conscious of that. Who are they speaking to? Why are they speaking? So here the context is Devahuti. Devahuti's lamentation. That is the title of this chapter. So it's very, very significant. Very, very significant. So here Kardamuni is going to create a wonderful mansion. And then in course of time, after begetting children, Devahuti is going to lament. Why is she going to lament? Because she will say in the future, we'll read in the future verses that she will lament that, oh, you are such an exalted personality, but instead of seeing you as an exalted devotee, I saw you as my husband. Therefore, instead of taking advantage of your association and making advancement, rather I just saw you as a mundane person. So this is a context. This is the context. So many times, speaking for myself, we ask Krishna for things. We may not ask grossly, we may not pray because out of that, but we may ask Krishna for something, Dhanam, Janam, Sundarim, whatever. And the worst thing is Krishna may give it to us. And once Krishna gives it to us, we lament that, oh, why did I do that? Why did my heart cry for that? Why did I want that? Why didn't I just deeply desire pure devotional service? Why did I desire these things? So Krishna is our best well-wisher. We should have full faith in that. Unless we have faith in Krishna, unflinching faith in Guru and Krishna, we cannot surrender. And the ultimate purpose is to surrender. The whole purpose of spiritual life is surrender only. So, like His Holiness Haladhar Maharaj says, you may be in a community with many devotees. There may be so many arrangements to take care of you. This counseling, this care, that care. So many things may be there. But at the end of the day, if you are not working for the pleasure of Guru and Krishna, you will feel alone. So that's very important for us to understand why we are here and who are we trying to please. By singing kirtan, by doing dressing, who are we trying to please? What is our mood? So unless we are internally focused, then we tend to get distracted and we tend to become frustrated. And why frustration comes? There are two reasons for frustration in a devotee's life. One reason for frustration is external. Okay, things are not going right. That's natural. Prabhupada also sometimes, although Prabhupada is not part of this world, but Prabhupada expressed sometimes that, this world is a frustrating place and it's not easy to get things done. And Prabhupada even supported such anxiety, it's not frustration, but anxiety to serve Krishna nicely. And there's another type of anxiety or frustration in a devotee's life when internally he is frustrated. Now, internal frustration, the deep cause of internal frustration actually is Jai Shri Shri Radha Gopijana Guru Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. The root cause of internal frustration is that we are misdirecting our devotional energies, our Krishna conscious energy. We are misdirecting it. But if we direct it properly, even if our chanting is not good, even if our consciousness is not good, which is my situation, I beg the blessings of all the devotees to bless me so that I can do something worthwhile with my time and spend it in Krishna consciousness. It is Krishna consciousness. So the deep reason why one is not happy in Krishna consciousness is because one is not sincerely trying to serve Krishna. And the ultimate perfection of a devotee's life is simply to surrender unto Krishna. That is a perfection. And that is a perfection that leads one from the stage of unsteadiness to steadiness, is to surrender to Krishna. And it's a mood. It's a mood. Like Bhaktivinoda Thakur said, that if Krishna desires, this will happen. If Krishna desires, that will happen. So it's a mood. So when we can cultivate that mood more and more and more, then more we can become steady. First, we have to become steady in our mood, in our heart, that why we're doing what we're doing. The more and more we become steady in our mood, then Krishna will help us to continue. Because one thing we have to remember very clearly, that Krishna knows what we can do. Internally, Krishna knows very well what is our capability. Krishna knows exactly what is our capability. I'm speaking about internally. How much we can absorb ourselves in the holy name. Krishna knows it. So we have to have full faith that Krishna knows our ability. So what Krishna really, really wants to see is Krishna wants to see how much we are trying. That's all Krishna wants us to see. How much we are really trying, how much we are really eager for the mercy. So the perfection of a devotee's life is to engage all his energy day and night in trying his best, level best, to serve Krishna. To serve Krishna. So the question comes that why does Krishna give devotee opulences? Why? We can understand that if someone is a pure devotee, like Srila Prabhupada is the best example. Why Krishna gives Prabhupada opulences? So that Prabhupada can spread Krishna consciousness. For no other purpose is Krishna giving Prabhupada opulences, because Prabhupada is never going to misuse the opulences. And Prabhupada showed personally by that example, never misused, never misused. You can see, like in Prabhupada's life, it was just like a lotus flower. Prabhupada was completely unattached, untouched, not even, he was so renounced. Prabhupada's renunciation, we cannot even imagine what was Prabhupada's renunciation. Even after constructing so many temples, doing so many things, Prabhupada is so happy just chanting the holy name. Prabhupada is so happy just reading Bhagavatam. So the reason Krishna gives devotees, some devotees, material happiness or material enjoyment is so that devotees can realize the futility of this material world. So there are two things which happen in this material world. One is happiness and distress. So Krishna gives devotee both these experiences so that a devotee can become equally detached from both. Because to attain pure devotional service, one has to be neutral to both happiness and distress. Both happiness and distress. So that means a devotee has to realize that this Dhanam, Janam, Sundarim, these things will not make him happy. He has to be deeply convinced. Unless he's deeply convinced, then naturally, even though he may physically not run after it, still in the mind will meditate on such things. And okay, sometimes the mind may meditate out of past, you can say, habit. That's one thing. But meditating on it with interest, with desire, oh, I want this. Krishna, please give it to me. That's different. So Krishna says, I mean, Bhagavatam, it's mentioned, Yasyaham anugrinami harishe tad dhanam shane tato dhanam tyajantyasya swajana dukkha dukkitam. The personality of Godhead said, if I especially favor someone, I gradually deprive him of his wealth, then the relatives and friends of such a poverty-stricken man abandon him. In this way, he suffers one distress after another. So what is this real wealth in this verse? Is it just material wealth? Is it just money? No, it's actually happiness. What is the real wealth in this world? Is happiness, is satisfaction of the heart. So what Krishna does in the heart of a sincere devotee, if a sincere devotee either engages in sense gratification or desires sense gratification beyond what is necessary, then what Krishna does is Krishna deprives him of internal satisfaction. So when Krishna deprives him of internal satisfaction in the heart more and more and more, then the devotee realizes, this is not going to make me happy. This is not going to make me happy. This is not going to make me happy. So then, as being deprived of the internal satisfaction, he has no other option but to run to Krishna, to go to Krishna. So this is very important for a devotee to understand. So the more and more we can realize, we can appreciate that the only happiness is in serving Krishna. And that is the goal of our life. The goal of our life is to simply serve Krishna in a favorable mood and give him all pleasure. So the more and more we can realize that, the more and more we can come out of these desires, desiring these desires. So one famous example, like here we see the example of Devahuti and Kadamuni creating a castle, creating this elaborate arrangement. On the other hand, we see the example of the Pandavas. And the Pandavas is a very, very strong example, one of the strongest examples. And that's why I feel Bhagavad Gita is so important, because one thing is, of course, Krishna's instructions to Arjuna, but on the other hand, also the important context is, what is the context of Bhagavad Gita? Context of Bhagavad Gita is Mahabharata. And what is Mahabharata? Mahabharata is a history. Prabhupada says great history, which actually describes what was the life of the Pandavas. Like, wow, it's, I mean, when you hear, when you get to know about it, it's so painful. Like what atrocities the Pandavas went through. First thing was, before the battle, they were denied a place to stay. Uh, they had barely any place to stay. And when they stayed in a small place, I forget the name of the place, and they start becoming prosperous, immediately Duryodhan became very envious, and made a plan to chase them out. So before the battle, so much trouble, so much trouble. And finally, when it was inevitable, um, the battle was, you can say, scheduled, or whatever you can say. So the battle also was very, very painful, very painful. And they had to constantly take shelter of Krishna to pull through. And at the same time, after the battle also, immediately after battle, what happened? Ashwatthama went and killed all the 5 children of Draupadi. So Draupadi's life is, I mean, it's a very, Krishna is conveying a very strong message to the life of Draupadi. What was her life? She was so attractive, she was so intelligent, she was devoted also. She's a devotee of Krishna. And her husbands were so powerful. But look at her situation. Look at what Duryodhan did to her, Dushashan did to her. Such an embarrassing, painful act. And after that, she went through so much, and at the end, uh, she lost all her 5 children. What a painful situation. What a painful situation. But what did the Pandavas do, even in such an atrocious, painful situation? At the end, what they did? They simply went on Mahaprasthan, meditated on Krishna, uh, and remembered Krishna at the time of death. So ultimately, that's the sum and substance of everything. When you see example of Pandavas, you really see what is the promise of sense gratification. What is the hope? There is no hope of sense gratification. Is there any better situation? These 5 Pandavas were sons of demigods. They were so powerful. Like it's explained that when Yudhishthir Maharaj was told to tell the lie, and Yudhishthir Maharaj said, no, I cannot tell lie that Ashwatthama is dead. So then Krishna said, okay, he told Bhima to kill an elephant. And Bhima had like barely 30 seconds to kill an elephant because Dronacharya was coming that time. He killed an elephant in 30 seconds. Just imagine. And these are not ordinary elephants. These were like war elephants. So this was how powerful they were. And on top of all that, they were under Krishna's shelter. Krishna was with them. Still they went through like this. So what is it? So intelligent person should conclude, what is the hope of sense? There is no hope, zero hope. So okay, there's no hope. So let's not plan only. Why to plan for sense gratification? Why should we plan to be artificially happy in this material world? Why? So take shelter of Krishna. Yes, it may not be easy, it may be painful, you may not get the instant reciprocation. But that's what actually satisfies the heart. That's what satisfies the heart. As soon as you take one step toward Krishna in a humble mood, in a hopeful mood, Krishna immediately reciprocates by filling the heart with some satisfaction. Like sometimes you may have this experience. You may not be doing really ecstatic Krishna consciousness. You may not be doing very good. But because your mood is correct, at least in your heart, you're satisfied that yes, I am doing the right thing. I am trying my best. So which means Krishna is reciprocating. And actually, like His Holiness Ranadath Maharaj says so many times, a man's greatness has to be estimated by how he can tolerate provoking situations. So that means Maya is going to put tests in the life of a devotee. It's a guaranteed. So it's only a question of how we react to those tests, how we tolerate those tests. So, Shotra structure Sparshanam cha rasnam granam evacha. Adhishtaya manaschayam vishyan pasevate. So these objects, sense objects in front of our eyes, or you can say devotees. They are all arrangements of Krishna according to our karma, according to the level of our surrender. Like sometimes you may have observed when your mind is very good, conscience is very good, even if someone shouts at you, even if someone becomes angry with you, still you have no problem. You have no problem. So, which means what? Uh, Ultimately, the only thing which matters is our consciousness. Our consciousness. So, whenever whenever difficult situations come in our face and it's very difficult, the only thing we have to learn to do is we have to learn to take shelter of Krishna and just admit in front of Krishna that Krishna, I cannot pass this test. I am hopeless. I am useless. I have no strength. So please, you do it because you know my situation very well. So please help me. Please help me. And that's the only prayer required. And as long as we can utter sincere prayers, and spiritual life is all about just prayers. Everything, all pure devotees, they're always praying. Because that's the only way to access Krishna's mercy. Unless you're in a mood of prayer, you cannot receive. You cannot receive. And that's why association of devotees is so important. Why do we need to associate with devotees? Because we need to draw strength from them. How will we draw strength from devotee association? How? When we are in a receiving mood. When we, on the heart of heart, we accept that they are better than us, they're greater than us. They're greater means what? They are richer in devotion than us. So the more and more we have faith in that, we will see that, wow, they are so wonderful, they are so exalted. So that will give us immense strength in our spiritual life. There's a wonderful song, some prayers I just want to read with Narottam Das Thakur from Prem Bhakti Chandrika, which is one of his books. One of the books he has written. It's very wonderful. Um, one second. पतित पावन नाम घोषणा तोमार श्याम उपे खिले नाही मोर गति यदि होय अपराधी तथापि हो तुमी गति सत्य सत्य येनो सतीपति तुम्ही तो परमदेव नाही मोरे उपेक्षिबा शुनो शुनो प्राणेर ईश्वर यदि कोरी अपराध तथापि हो तुमी नाथ सेवा दिए करो अनुचार. O Lord, you are known as Patita Pavan, the deliverer of the fallen, and you are also known as Shyam Sundar. Please do not ignore my appeal. Even if I am offended, I think that you are the real goal of my life. That is the truth. O Supreme Personality of Godhead, please do not neglect me. O Master of my life, please hear my words. Even if I have committed offenses to you, I always think of you as my master. Please allow me to serve you as your associate and follower. Lust has destroyed my mind. I do not know what is actually beneficial for me. O Lord, you glance mercifully on all living entities, and you are like a desire tree fulfilling the desires of everyone. Please accept me as your servant. O Lord, you will not see anyone in these three planetary systems who is as fallen as I. O Lord, please accept the name Narottam Pavan and let their name be broadcast throughout the material world. O Lord Shyam Sundar, O lifter of Govardhan Hill, O deliverer of the fallen, please accept me as your servant. This is most important. It's amazing. Narottam Das is very unhappy. Oh Lord, please engage him in your Sankirtan movement and thus make him happy. Oh Lord, I am very afraid that I will not be able to overcome the many obstacles that stop me from advancing in devotional service. Oh Lord, at every moment, I beg you to remove all those obstacles. So in order to go to the platform of Nishtha, this is very important. This is very important. That's why a devotee has to always focus on the next thing in his spiritual life. By studying the scriptures, he has to make a fair assessment on where he is in Krishna consciousness, and what he needs to do to go to the next stage. So, to go to the platform of steady devotional service, what is very, very important, very most important thing for a devotee like Sri Lord myself, who is not steady in his Krishna consciousness, who is not always ecstatic in Krishna consciousness. What is very important for him? What is very important is to always remain in the association of devotees. Always remain, internally and externally. Externally is, of course, an absolute must, but internally is also more important. Internally means to appreciate, have a desire to serve them, have a desire to serve them. So by this favorable association, constant favorable association, and this humble mood, very humble mood, we don't have to say to devotees, but in our mind, we can appreciate, we can pay obeisances to them. We can take the dust from their lotus feet. In our mind, we can do that. And Krishna sees that. Krishna is not seeing what we're doing, but Krishna sees the heart. Krishna sees the heart. So the more and more we do that, we take shelter of devotees. The more and more we can get the strength to go on with our Krishna consciousness, despite anarthas, despite offenses. The more and more we can continue and continue and continue. And in course of time, we realize actually that when we feel good in Krishna consciousness, when we feel inspired, then we realize it's actually Krishna's mercy. Krishna's mercy. And how does Krishna's mercy descend? Krishna's mercy descends based on our eagerness. The more and more we are eager for Krishna consciousness, and the more and more we can continue that eager mood constantly, enthusiastic mood constantly, that I want to hear, I want to hear, I want to make progress, then the more there is a chance, a good chance that Krishna's mercy will descend into our life. And actually, this is for devotees, this is very instructive, because these kind of situations where there is so much opulence is a wonderful time to forget Krishna. So that's why we have to be very honest. If some situation is not good for us, we should not accept that situation. Situation may present itself to us. Devotees may present, oh, come here, come there, do this, do that. And I mean, Krishna may arrange. Devotees may glorify us. Devotees may put us on a platform which we are not. But if it's not favorable for our Krishna consciousness, we should not accept that situation. And see, always exalted devotees, real devotees are there to accept things. It's not that if someone offers something to you, or if some situation is presented to you, if you don't preach or if you don't speak, then nobody will preach. No. The most important thing, more important, especially in the condition stage, more important than preaching or doing anything, the bottom line of everything is, number one, who has asked you to do that? Do you have the shelter of a senior devotee? Does he want you to do that? And number two, while doing that, what is your consciousness? These two things are very, very important. So if our consciousness is being completely compromised by doing something, completely compromised, then we should not do it. As simple as that. So, best example is the Pandavas. Again, if anyone reads the life story of the Pandavas, does it look in any way, does it look wonderful? No, it's such a difficult life. But at the end of the day, what is important? Pure devotees. They took shelter of Krishna. They are with Krishna. And because of that, that's why they're glorified now. You don't hear in Bhagavad Gita all the details of what all they went through. Why? Because that's not important. What is important is their pure devotion. But for us to be inspired by their pure devotion, for someone to go to demonstrate that pure devotion through the example they showed, this is the life. Life of pure devotee is very unorthodox. That pure devotee doesn't even know What is his future? He never thinks of his future. I mean, not qualified, but pure devotee never thinks of his future. He's just interested in day to day, minute to minute, how he's serving Krishna. He's just interested in those details of how Krishna is going to be served. So that's very important for us to observe, that life of a pure devotee is unpredictable, or a life of someone who is aspiring for pure devotion is also unpredictable. So the only thing which is important is our intense desire to make progress. Our intense desire to make progress. That's the only thing which matters. The only thing we have in our hand is our desire. The humble mode, if we desire, and we act based on the desire according to the directions of the senior devotees, then we'll make progress. Our life is in the hand of devotees, as simple as that. It's very clear. Like my spiritual master said, a neophyte devotee only accepts his Diksha Guru as his Guru. And a more advanced devotee, he accepts more people as his Guru. But most advanced devotee, he can see everyone as his Guru. Because unless you see everyone as your Guru, you cannot take a humble position. And that's Uttam Adhikar. I'm not on that platform, but I'm aspiring for that platform. Because what is the only problem in spiritual life that blocks our internal progress is aparadh. Aparadh. So it doesn't matter who you commit aparadh to. Aparadh means aparadh. So the more and more we can realize the greatness of devotees, how devotees are so amazing, are so humble, are so wonderful. More and more we can be safe in Krishna consciousness. If we only depend on our strength, then what is the hope? But if we depend on the strength of all the devotees, sincerely taking shelter, the more we can make progress, and the more we can come out of this conception of I and mine and me and all these things. Because ultimately, I mean, it's everyone says you want to go back to Godhead. But what does it mean to go back to Godhead? Go back to Godhead means I only want to serve. And I don't want to serve directly also, because there's no possibility. Like in the spiritual world, Krishna, Radha Krishna, already those positions are taken. You cannot ask the most intimate associate, okay, move aside, let me, I'll do this. You cannot say that. You can't even enter there. So only Das, Anudas is available there. No other positions available even to begin with. So if you want to go back to God, it means you must have an intense desire to serve. That's it. No other, nothing else, no addition. Intense desire to serve. That's all. And there's no kind of, how to say, external reward also there. Nobody's going to come. You never hear in Chris story someone come and gives a, like a badge to Mother Yashoda. What is that? Devotee of the year. You never hear like that. So, I mean, I'm speaking for myself that going back to God, it means, and I really liked one devotee came, I forgot his name, I think Gaura Hari Prabhu, he came from Chowpatty. He said, Sri Ranat Maharaj said that we have to graduate from I to we. So that's what you see, like in the statements of the pure devotees, how much they have love for Prabhupada's movement, how much they have love for the whole movement. And you see that they are contributing whatever they're contributing, but they always appreciate the collective endeavor. Like Sai Vilsha Prabhu says, collective endeavor or collective purity is the most important thing. And yeah, collective purity is most important. What is collective purity? Collective purity means that each devotee is trying to support the other devotee. Each devotee is trying to elevate the other devotee. Hey, he is better than me. He is doing the service. He is contributing. He has such wonderful taste for the holy name. So collectively supporting one another is most important, and that's the best way to overcome, easiest way to overcome pride actually. To overcome this desire to take credit is by constantly taking shelter. Again, speaking for myself, by constantly taking shelter of exalted devotees and doing things under their shelter, then it really helps to come out of this desire to begin with, for us to do things and to get credit for things. Like if you're constantly taking shelter of a devotee, that especially internally, you take shelter of a devotee, then you realize that actually he is only doing it. And that's the best position. Like that's the best position. And best position is when Krishna actually reciprocates and convinces you from within the core of your heart that it's someone else doing it. Like today I was doing dressing and Rasiva Prabhu did some aarti, some things. And I see, like, because he did aarti, I can see that deities are looking different. They're looking more happy. So this is very good, because now I'm convinced that I have no qualification. I have, on my own, I have no qualification. So this mood of being the servant of the servant of the servant is very, very important. And that is the sum and substance of spiritual life. Because the more masters you have, the more protected you are. Simple as that. The more people who look after you. So we are so fortunate that we have such examples from Bhagavatam. So we know before even, it's not that we have to experience by doing something or engaging, but we have Devothi's lamentation. You can read it. What was, after all this, what was Devothi's prayer? She was lamenting. She was lamenting. So at the same time, of course, she actually, by her activity, she brought forth the Supreme Personality of God at Kapila Dev. At the same time, that teaching is, that's why Bhagavatam is so amazing. At the same time, it can teach so many things. This material world is such a difficult place to deal. That's why Prabhupada explains like a razor edge. Bhakti in this material world is like a razor edge. So if you want to accept some happiness, sense gratification in this world, you have to accept it in such a way that it's not too much. And what is that too much? That too much is very easy to go into that too much category. It's very easy. It's very easy. So that's why to be very, very careful. So careful. So careful. Devotees, so careful. But what is the biggest advantage we have in this age is association of devotees. If we don't take sincere advantage of devotee association, we are not respecting Prabhupada's endeavor and intense headache Prabhupada went through to create ISKCON. Prabhupada could just written books. Why he had to bring forth ISKCON? Why? What does he need to make so many temples? Only for association of devotees. And that's why if we take constant shelter of devotees, then even though we may be going in the wrong direction, we don't have to waste so much time. Immediately we can realize that, oh, I am doing a mistake. Immediately. Because if you come to the temple, if you are in the association of devotees, it's so easy to realize that, yeah, I'm doing wrong. I shouldn't have done that. Immediately the next day, chanting, somehow you'll get to know immediately. So this is the greatest fortune. You see, in Bhagavatam, maybe this, in some cases, you see like even the example of Bharat Maharaj, that he did not have this opulence of devotee association. But in this age of Kali, by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mercy, this is our greatest gift, greatest shelter, is the association of devotees. And Prabhupada taught us by his example. What was Prabhupada's shining example? Prabhupada's intense anxiety to hear from his guru. That is association. Association means have a sincere desire to hear, to observe, to learn. That is Prabhupada's shining example. And that's why Bhaktivinoda Thakur said, yes, I will accept it. Because it's an intense desire to hear. Prabhupada was saying the other day that one has an intense eagerness to hear. Then just by that, Guru is so pleased. Guru is so pleased with that. So when I'm speaking for myself, when one has that mood to learn from others, to always push others, to always elevate others, to always try to see that others are glorified. So if one has this sincere mood in Krishna consciousness, then that is the only way to be protected against Maya. What is Prabhupada's position? Prabhupada is saying, on one hand, Prabhupada is saying that I am always praying to Krishna, that I don't, praying to Radharani, that I don't fall down. But at the same time, what is Prabhupada saying? Prabhupada is saying, Maya will never touch me. Why Prabhupada said that? Because Prabhupada is beyond this material world. Prabhupada has that prema dhana, that love of Godhead. Therefore, Maya cannot touch. Like Prabhupada said this, that if you put me in a room with thousands of naked women, then I can come out undisturbed. So how can Prabhupada make such a statement? Because Prabhupada is on that platform. So even Haridas Thakur, after he delivered that prostitute, he immediately left. I mean, Maya became his disciple. Just think about his position. Maya became his disciple, got mantra from him, but still he was so careful. So, without association of devotees, there is no hope. There is no hope. From which position, from where your karma is going to attack, you have no idea. You have no idea. Only devotees can save. Only devotees can save. At every moment, we have to take shelter, to take shelter, to take shelter. So, sorry if I spoke anything wrong, inappropriate. I'm extremely fallen, useless, worthless. Hopefully, by all of your mercy, by your prayers and blessings, I can make some advancement in Krishna consciousness. Anyone has any question or comment?
Prabhuji, can I ask?
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Prabhuji, today's class was very nice, many nice points in it. Especially the points that Bhagavatam has so many instructions. We need to see the whole context. That point really touched my heart. And another statement that you made, the more and more masters one has, the more protected that person is. That is also a wonderful statement, Prabhuji. Thank you so much. Prabhuji, my question was taking association internal and external. How do we enhance our internal association? And how do we make sure we are really taking internal association?
Yeah, internal association happens by contemplating on the mood of the devotee, by contemplating on his mood. So more and more you contemplate on his mood, not just the bare instructions, and you pray to become like him, then the more and more that is real association. And yeah, ultimately the source of all realization is humility. So in the humble mood, when you take shelter of a devotee, you need not even have to say it externally, but when you take shelter, then Krishna reveals his glory to you. Because Krishna can reveal himself through anyone. Like that is Krishna's infinite amazing quality, that Krishna, even through, like you can see Avanti Brahmana, even through a snake, even the snake he accepted as guru. How it is possible? Snake is such an envious creature, but even he accepted snake as his guru. And what did he learn from the snake? That of course it should not be over exemplified. This is again context, that this snake practices ajagara vritti, that it just stays in one place, and by the arrangement of providence, when food comes, he snatches hold of the food and eats it. So what he learned is just to depend on the mercy of the Lord. So this is an example. So in this way, when we can internally see the glory of a devotee, and that's just so important, to see his spiritual advancement is so important. It's not important to see someone's position, someone's power, someone's beauty. No, it's not important. Important thing to see is their devotion. So if you see someone's devotion, then you really appreciate them from the core of your heart, and you really take shelter of them. Because yeah, when you see someone has devotion, then naturally your soul feels happy to surrender to that person. That's very important. That soul should feel happy that wow, he has such an amazing consciousness. What a consciousness he has. So the more and more we meditate on his mood, and the more and more we have a sincere desire to serve him. And you don't, it's not, serving does not mean necessarily you have to do something big, you have to invite to your home. No, just by hearing that person, just by observing that person, you're serving him. Why? Because serving means you have a desire to learn from him. You have a, serving him means like serving Krishna means serving everyone. That's the point here. So if you're learning from someone how to serve Krishna, then that's the most pleasing thing to him actually. Like we cannot realize, but you see like pure devotees, when you do something for Krishna, they are so happy. And sometimes we wonder how it is possible. Like just think about it. You tell some exalted devotee, I am doing arti every day. They become so happy that wow, they're doing arti every day. Wow, amazing. They can appreciate you for hours just thinking about that one activity. Wow. Because why? Because Krishna is so dear to them. And anyone who does anything for Krishna is so dear to them. Like we hear this explanation is there. As soon as you chant the name of Krishna, Radharani starts running behind you. Just think about that. How deep is that? Like that's because and pure devotees, they have so much love. Narottam Das Thakur is praying. Anyone who takes shelter of Gauranga chants one time Gauranga, I want his Sangha. It's so difficult to even comprehend, but that is at that stage. So in the same way, it's a fact. It's a fact. If you serve Krishna, you become dear to everyone. Like we all have experience also. That after you become a devotee, when you go to your family, you go to friends, suddenly people have more liking for you. You didn't do anything for them directly. You didn't do anything to please them, but they're more liking for you. Why? Why? Because you're trying to serve Krishna. And that's what actually everyone wants. That's what everyone wants. They may not say externally, but that's what they want. That's what the soul wants. So yeah, by absorbing the mood, and it's not easy to absorb the mood. You have to listen for a long time, continuous period of time. And that's why in spiritual life, it's specifically instructed that at least one person or few people that you actively take shelter of them by hearing from them regularly, and you take shelter of them and you hear from them, you absorb their mood, and that's how you actually associate with them. So that association is very powerful, because then that association kind of creates like kind of a, you can say, a Lakshman Rekha around you. I cannot find any better word. Kind of a fence, protective fence around you. So if you're not acting in that mood, something is wrong. So that kind of really helps to shape your consciousness. So that's how uh, they protect, they teach us the mood. Mood is the most important in Krishna consciousness. Details is important, but more important is the mood. So if you're protected by being protected by the inspiration of someone, then that is the best thing, the best protection in spiritual life. So initially we ask what to do, and eventually once we understand the mood, we still ask, but we understand that okay, this is my mood, then it's not good. It's not good. I will not do it. So that's the way we are protected. Like I seen, like I learned so much. I learned so much from the association of devotees, and that's the only thing which is protecting me today. Whatever. And that's the only thing which is keeping me is inspiration from great souls. And so yeah, so the more and more you hear, deeply hear, you meditate, you pray. mm, that's why it takes time. But yeah, you meditate on the mood of a devotee, like why he's saying what he's saying. That's very important. And you can only understand that over a period of time. Over a period of time. you can understand why. That's the key. Like when Guru makes a statement in a lecture, or whoever makes, why are they making that statement? That's very important to understand. If you don't understand why he's making a statement, you just take that statement out of context, then it can completely bewilder someone. Why he said that statement. I'm sorry, I hope that I'm not qualified to answer, but I hope that that was something.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji. So to just reiterate for my own self, active hearing, meditation on the instructions to understand the mood of pure souls.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji.
Okay. Anyone has any question or comment? Yeah, I think we'll end here and then we'll take later because it's already 9:30. Anyone has any question or comment on Zoom? Okay, we will end here. Please forgive me if I spoke anything wrong or inappropriate. Vanchakalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhyev cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo anantakoti vaishnaviliki jai Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna. Dandavat Pranam.